Kirk, thank you so much for your time. I really wanted to meet you because when I was 10 or 11, I remember going to your show. I didn't have any metal friends because I was too little. So I remember my mom just left me out outside and she stayed and she waited for me in the parking lot so I could go inside and watch your show.
Wow.
Because
Wow.
when you're 10, you know, you don't have any girlfriends who really like metal.
Yeah, and I have to throw in there, that was really cool of your mom to do that. I mean, really,
the coolest was
really
my mom,
cool.
actually.
Wow, she supported you.
Yeah, exactly. Like all of my friends in primary school were like, Joanna's kind of weird now. She likes this weird music and everything. But thank you. I really wanted to meet you.
Oh.
So listening to your album yesterday, I kind of picked up that it's kind of eclectic in a way that there's things about Kill 'Em All, there's kind of a punky thing there. There's also like this classical music influenced of and Justice for All and everything. But when you were recording this, what was like the main ground for all of you guys when you were doing this last one?
Well, I think, going into this, the attitude was that we were going to make something, that was similar in attitude to the attitude that was on Kill 'Em All.
Okay.
And, that was the idea going into it at the beginning. Of course, we're not going to write another Kill 'Em All.
Yeah.
So, at the end result is where we kind of ended up, after writing all that type of music. But I mean, to answer your question, I mean, this album just is a pretty good, an accurate representation of just where our heads are at musically, and what we are interested in playing. Mm-hmm. And it seems that these days we're kind of what really excites us is the more up-tempo, energetic stuff, the more bouncy, sort of groove-oriented stuff, the more melodic stuff, like, guitar harmonies, it's still very much a part of our sound. And so it's just what we want to hear in our music. And if it's similar to, like you were saying, in Justice for All or in Kill 'Em All, great.
Yeah, but was the attitude, now that you're mentioning Kill 'Em All, do you feel like now and after so much time, is your attitude like more like that when you were beginning, when you were all eager and young and hungry, and or has that changed?
Well, it's hard to be the same way you were when you're 21 years old, but I mean musically you can still go there, but as a person it's difficult. But musically it's a lot easier to go there. I mean, if you asked me to play the way I played when I was 20, 21, or even when I was 15 or 16, I could do a pretty good job of doing that. Okay. But if you asked me to like act that way, that it's a little bit harder for me to do. And so, but that's just the way it is with music. You can kind of assume different sort of roles and musical roles, and it's part of the whole beauty of it. And we just assume certain attitudes and certain roles going into this music, and the anger that's in our music, it comes from a deep place. I mean, when I think all human beings have a degree of anger in them. Some have more anger than others. Some manifest it differently than other people. Some use it, to create. Some use it to destroy. But at the end of the day, unless you were like really, really wise and know how to just get rid of all of it, I mean, usually people just learn how to process it, and they learn how to process the anger that they just kind of have. And over time, we're still those angry guys that put out Kill 'Em All. We just learned how to deal with the anger and process it a little better. But it's real easy to tap into. Super easy, because it's always right there.
It's always right there.
Right behind the curtain, Especially with James and I, that's that's one thing that we share is we just have a lot of anger, but it manifests in different ways. But in music, it manifests in a very similar way.
Okay. I could tell by listening to your lyrics yesterday that it's gotten from where you were like at 2022, where there's kind of despair now and no hope at all, to what you say. It's kind of processed in a way where you're no longer complaining about how the world works, but you're actually analyzing it.
Yeah.
And you have something to say, and now it's more, I would say, aware. It's awareness about how the world works and how things are, and not this like teenage attitude anymore where you're like, well, fuck it,
Yeah. Yeah, well, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I mean, I think as far as emotional awareness and emotional intelligence goes, we've grown quite a bit, especially in terms of just like being aware of just like, different emotional states of mind and how we all just kind of occupy different states of mind all the time, And I think, somewhere along the line, there's a real shift in where James's lyrics became more about, we know that it's a fucked up place, but this is what I'm going to do to try to make it a little safer for myself and hopefully for the people around me. And that's a pretty major shift. And it's also, him just calling it as it is and making people just aware of just how it is,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even the title of your album is like I've thought about this a lot of times, and humans are the only species that actually don't care about the world they're living in, and they destroy man, they destroy animals. They pay like millions of dollars to go to the moon, but they're not even aware that all the things that's happening on Earth that is more amazing than if you go to Mars or whatever. Like they say, we found water in Mars, but what's happening with all these things we have here? So, so is that your message? Like man is not aware of what's happening, and they're actually like self-destroying themselves?
Well, yeah. I mean, it could be definitely interpreted in that way. I mean, it's man is pretty much the plague of the earth.
Yeah.
We're just, if men weren't around, the planet, human beings weren't around, the planet would probably be a much nicer place.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how it is.
And if Metallica had a general message right now to say to all the people in the world, what would that be, based on what you're saying right now?
I would say, there's a lot of things always coming at people now with social media, the internet, all these like slogans, all these quotes, all these opinions, and it's really hard to shift through all that and separate what's real and what's not. I would say just listen to your heart and listen to what your heart's telling you, and listen to what your gut is telling you, and listen to if there's any sort of question on what is good and what isn't, just follow your heart. That's all I really can say.
Yeah,
these
follow
days,
your gut, nah?
Yeah, follow your heart.
That got you where you are today.
Yeah, I mean, and I would say that human beings can go a long way if they're just open and honest with each other. It's the communication part that seems to screw us human beings up the most.
Yeah.
And one way to kind of help that is to just try and be as open and honest and just accepting as you possibly can at all times.
How do you see the music business now? Listening to your record yesterday, you're in a point where you're making songs that you don't care if people like it or not. You're doing this from your heart, and
it's always been that way.
Yeah, but now also I could tell they're kind of, maybe they're not long for metal standards, but nowadays everyone's recording these 2-minute, 3-minute songs that are just boom, there it is, and blah blah blah. And people don't have these don't know what it's like to sit down in your house and listen to a record. Actually listen to this. So what are your thoughts on how's the music business right now? and how music
well,
is.
Well, to comment on, you know, all those shorter songs and stuff, I think that's just catering to all the people out there who just have short attention spans, you know. And I also think that things like the internet also contribute to people's attention spans just getting smaller and smaller, because it's just so easy to move around and jump around from one topic or one subject to another, you know, with a click of a button or whatever, you know. And so, I mean, you know, the whole experience of like sitting down and listening to an album is kind of like rare. You only get it now if you just buy an album. And that used to be the norm. Now that's like some esoteric sort of experience that only, like, you know, old school people do, or hipsters do, or just like true vinyl junkies do.
Yeah.
And that was a thing that brought people together, you know? And nowadays when people listen to music, it's so solitary, and everyone has their own individual thing. And, you know, I don't picture people getting together to listen to music like people used to back in the day, you know?
No.
People would get together at the record store and buy records together. I mean, when there was an album coming out, there used to be a line out the record store, and usually in that line were all your friends, you know, all your fellow musicians, you know, all the people you went to school with, and we're all excited about the same thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore. The music industry nowadays is kind of like, you know, every band for themselves, you know. It's like, you know, the quote, every man for himself. Well, now it's every band for themselves, because there's no set path to make it to a point where you can truly say that, you know, you're at a point where you're established.
Yeah.
And you know, it's there's no real norm, and to make it worse, on top of that, if there is a norm, it's only a norm for maybe 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, and then it's different again.
Well, it's come to a point where not even artists make albums anymore. They're just like this song and that, and blah, 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 you know?
Yeah.
And then you can just buy one. Not when we were like little, it was like, I have to buy this whole thing, you know? You could just buy one song and that's it.
I mean, I would see albums as, you know, journeys. It would take you on a musical journey for, you know, half hour, 45 minutes. Nowadays, it's just like a quick hit there, quick hit there, quick hit there, and I mean, you know, there isn't much depth.
Yeah.
There isn't much of a journey. It's more like, I don't know, a snack or something.
Yeah. So what are you listening to now in your life? What bands do you love?
I love the new Gojira album. I love those guys. I've always loved those guys. You know, the brothers Joe and Dennis are just an incredible team, and you know, it's just great musicianship, great songs. Their new album is a real departure from their last stuff. It almost sounds psychedelic at times to me, and like I'm just really psyched about it. And that's pretty much all I've been listening to.
Really?
For the last
And do you have like these?
Well, I've been listening to this other like really weird band that I discovered. They're from England. They're called Nonne, Nonne, and you know, it's two guys. And it sounds kind of like 60s R&B, but there's elements of trip hop in it, you know, and you know, there's keyboards and synths, and when he sings, he sounds like, you know, an African American guy when he sings, and it's just really cool, laid back music that, you know, is good to listen to, like after I've surfed or something, you know, if I listen to Gojira when I'm on the way to surf to get me all fired up.
All right.
And I listen to this one band, Nonne, or Known, I don't even know how to say their name, after I surf.
All right.
Yeah.
And what makes you happy? What makes, I can tell clothes make you really happy.
Clothes make me, all the good things in life, just like everything it was.
Well, some people don't appreciate, I don't know, like.
Clothes, you know, food. Literature, books, movies, surfing, horror movies, you know. I like to go biking. I love to travel. You know, playing guitar, hanging out with my family. You know, lots of things make me real happy. And I stopped drinking, so I have part of my brain back that I didn't have for the last,
How long was that
last
ago?
33 years, ever since Kill 'Em All or something. And so it's great because I feel that now when I play my guitar, I'm keeping more of that stuff with me. It stays with me more. I mean, I got into this real kind of like bad habit for years and years and years on tour. It was after show, I'd go out to a club, bar, nightclub, whatever, get really drunk, come back to my hotel room, and just play drunk guitar for hours on end. And, wake up the next morning and just think, oh, what was I doing? Oh, I guess I play guitar. And I would, none of that stuff would stay with me. Nowadays, when I do that, I'm not drinking, and I wake up the next morning and I can actually remember what I played the night before.
How long has it been since you haven't had a drink?
It's been almost 2 years now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
I guess I'm still stuck in that stage.
Yeah, hey, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it when I was, when I was on that whole trip. But, for me, now that I'm getting older, I'm thinking of things like, I need to take care of my body. I need to take care of my brain, and I'm trying to like do what I can now, just for my own self-preservation. And so. There isn't a lot of room for something like alcohol in my life anymore, and so, I'm in a good space as far as that's concerned.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you very much for your time, and
Likewise.
I'm super happy to meet you.
All right, cheers.
Thank you.
All right, alrighty.
Betul. Super.